In the heart of the jungle, a panther moved like a shadow, its muscles coiled, eyes burning with hunger. Every step silent, every breath controlled. Its gaze was fixed on a small deer that had strayed too far from the herd. The kill would be swift, the prey too weak to resist. But the panther savored the anticipation, relishing the moment when its sharp teeth would pierce the warm skin of the deer. Yet what happened next shattered every law of the wild. A sudden explosion of wings filled the air. A cacophony of screeches pierced the stillness as dozens of jungle birds, small yet fearless, rose together like a storm against the predator. The sky turned alive with frantic flapping, a chorus of desperate shrieks. The deer froze, ears pinned back, eyes wide with terror. Even the panther recoiled, momentarily stunned by the unexpected uprising. For a moment, the panther stood transfixed, its instincts screaming at it to flee, to hide. The sheer number of birds, their unified cries, it was an assault on the senses. A rebellion against the order of nature, where predators ruled supreme. But the panther, a creature of instinct and raw power, didn't run. It lunged forward, tail twitching, poised to claim its prize. Before its paws touched the ground, a wave of wings crashed against its face, momentarily blinding the panther with feathers. The birds descended upon the cat like a feathered tempest, pecking, diving, and striking. The sky became a whirlwind of wings and beaks, and the jungle reverberated with the sound of battle. The birds were not fighting for their own survival, but for the safety of their young hidden in the canopy, for the continuation of their lineage. Each squawk carried the weight of desperation, each wing beat a declaration that the jungle was not ruled by teeth and claw alone. The panther staggered back, momentarily thrown off balance by the sheer force of the avian assault. It shook its head, trying to clear the feathers obscuring its vision. A low growl rumbled in its throat, a sound of warning and aggression. But the birds paid no heed. The attack was relentless, coordinated, driven by a collective will to protect the panther. A solitary hunter, used to relying on stealth and brute strength, found itself overwhelmed. Its claws, usually so deadly, were useless against the swarming birds. They danced around its paws, taunting, striking, and darting away before the panther could retaliate. The forest floor became a whirlwind of dust and scattered leaves as the panther swiped wildly, its muscles coiling, trying to connect with its prey. But the birds were always just out of reach, circling, striking, and vanishing into the thick foliage above. Time seemed to stretch, every second deepening the chaos, every moment amplifying the tension. The massive predator, accustomed to being feared, now found itself hunted, cornered, exposed. A deep guttural roar erupted from the panther, echoing through the dense trees. It was a sound of frustration, of anger, of an instinctual terror, that primal fear of annihilation. The roar shook the jungle, but the birds kept coming, their pecks sharper, their dives more daring. With each passing moment, the panther grew more disoriented, more desperate, more enraged. Then came the turning point. As the panther lunged, its claws extended, catching only empty air. A sharp beak raked across its nose, drawing blood. The panther recoiled, surprised by the ferocity of the bird. And in that instant, the resolve of the bird seemed to surge. The sky darkened with more wings, joining the fray. More screeches split the air. More bodies slammed against the panther. It was no longer just about protecting the young or defending territory. It was about inflicting damage, about making the panther pay for intruding into their domain. The panther, once the embodiment of untamed power, now stumbled back, confused, blinded by blood and feathers. Its movements erratic, its roars echoing in defeat. The sight was surreal, almost unbelievable, as if the natural order was being reversed. Driven by a primal need to escape the relentless onslaught, the panther turned and fled, crashing through the undergrowth, crashing over logs, and leaping across gullies. The birds followed, their cries growing louder, their attacks more frenzied. The panther's escape route became a gauntlet of feathers and fury. The jungle, usually a place of lurking shadows and hidden dangers, was transformed into a battleground of daylight fury. The panther burst out of the foliage, desperate to find respite, only to find itself in a clearing. The birds followed, their siege continuing unabated. The panther, trapped, exhausted, wounded, finally understood the gravity of its situation. It was utterly defeated, its pride broken by a force it had never anticipated. As if sensing the panther's capitulation, the birds' attacks grew more intense. They dive-bombed the cat, raking its body with their beaks and talons. The panther, its strength ebbed, its vision blurred, collapsed onto the forest floor, submitting to the overwhelming odds. The birds continued their assault, their cries echoing in triumph. The panther, its head bowed, its body trembling, slowly lost consciousness. When it awoke, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the clearing. The birds were gone, their battle cry replaced by the evening chorus of the jungle. The panther, battered and bloodied, slowly rose to its feet, shaking its head, trying to clear the remnants of the battle. It looked up at the darkening sky, a deep understanding dawning in its eyes. The jungle had taught it a lesson it would never forget. It had underestimated its enemy, dismissed the collective will of the birds as a threat, but it was that very unity, that shared purpose that had brought the panther to its knees. From somewhere in the canopy, a lone bird called out, a triumphant note ringing through the trees. It was a call that resonated with the panther's deepest instincts, a recognition of its own mortality, a reminder of its place in the intricate web of life. Slowly, the panther limped away from the clearing, leaving behind the silent testament to its defeat, the ruffled feathers and its own blood staining the forest floor. It vanished into the shadows, its steps cautious, its movements subdued. The jungle, once again, was cloaked in mystery, the air thick with the promise of new dangers and untold wonders. The panther's wounds would heal, the scars would fade, but the memory of this day would remain etched in its soul. It would carry with it the echoes of that fateful chase, the cacophony of screams and the relentless assault of wings. The jungle had spoken, and the panther was its unwilling disciple, forever marked by the rebellion of feathers against fangs. That night, as the moon cast its silvery light through the leaves, the birds returned to their roosts. They huddled together, their soft chirps filling the canopy, sharing stories of their extraordinary day, celebrating their triumph over the mighty panther. And as the wind rustled through the leaves, it seemed to carry their whispers, their tales of bravery and unity, ensuring that the memory of this day would live on in the heart of the jungle, a reminder that the greatest threats can come in the smallest packages, and that unity, courage and determination can move mountains, or in this case, defeat panthers.